Hello, and welcome to the Guilbault Girls Show, where you will have the opportunity to hear from mothers, fathers, siblings, and individuals themselves about their journey of living with a disability. I know, it's called Guilbault Girls, but we have a bonus for you as we get the Guilbault boys to interview some of the dads and siblings and get their perspectives too. We'll also have special guests from time to time to share the many resources that are available to those living with a disability and their families. So get ready to laugh, smile, cry, maybe even get a little angry when you hear some of these stories of their day-to-day struggles. But let's not forget their many triumphs. As they say, it takes a village. And if it weren't for our village, we wouldn't be where we are today. So join us. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Guilbault Girls Show. I'm your host, Karen Guilbault, and today's guest is Rachel Greenberg, founder of Life Unlimited, Unleash Your Potential, LLC. So Life Unlimited provides support brokering and disability consulting services in the state of Maryland, as well as empowerment consulting, social skills tutoring, and dating and relationship guidance, both virtually and in person. Rachel has her master's in special education, as well as over 16 years of experience working with children, teenagers, and adults with disabilities in the school, home, community, and work setting. For the past 6 years, she has helped adults with disabilities find and maintain employment. Very important. She strives to provide person-centered supports for all of her clients so that they can lead the most fulfilling lives possible. She is a firm believer in self-determination and self-advocacy. So welcome, Rachel. I'm so excited that I got to connect with you and have you on the show. I love everything that you're doing. So for those of you listening, so my 19-year-old daughter, Faith, she has cerebral palsy, POTS, and cortical vision impairment. And she's on the Maryland Family Supports Waiver and receives services through that. So there's two routes to receive these services. One is through traditional services where you would go through an agency who is a licensed provider with the Developmental Disability Administration. Often you hear people say DDA. And these agencies are the ones that provide the support and the services to the individuals with the developmental disabilities or intellectual. So the other route, which is what Faith is on, is known as the self-direct model. This is a service delivery model for participants, legal guardians, or their designated representatives who wish to exercise more choice, control, and authority over their support. Self-direction gives waiver participants and families greater control over the services that they receive, how they receive them, and who provides them. At the same time, people who are in self-direct must be willing to take on the responsibility of managing their services because you don't have the agency. So this is where a support broker comes in play, and this is where Rachel, one of the things that Rachel offers. So with that being said, I'm in several different Facebook groups for self-direct, and that's where I connected with her. She had posted that she was hosting a workshop, and I went on her website. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have her as a guest on the show because this is awesome stuff. It's all about sharing those resources. So I am excited. So thank you once again.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's dive in. First of all, I always like to start from the beginning. So what led you to work with the disability community?
I feel like it kind of fell into my lap. In middle school, they would have us huddled in the cafeteria before we went to classes, and I would get bored and I would kind of wander around, and I found myself in a special education class. And middle school is hard for anyone, but it was really hard for me. And I went into the class, and the students were so welcoming and loved being around me, and it became a daily habit that I would kind of escape from the cafeteria to go into the special ed classrooms. And from then on, I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked.
I love that. That's awesome. And so then you went in and when she graduated, you got your special ed degree and everything. What inspired you to start your own LLC, your own business?
I feel like I'm so passionate about so many different things. So it allows me to not just hone in on one thing, but multiple things I'm passionate about. So when I was working, doing employment consulting, I was helping individuals with disabilities customize jobs. But at the same time, I was so passionate about relationships and social skills. So this allows me to do everything that I want to do.
That's awesome. So let's go over one by one the different services that you offer, and what the different skills and topics that you focus on with each one of them. So let's
Yeah.
start with your disability consulting.
Yes. So I basically help families navigate funding streams like DDA and doors, advocate, and basically overall help the families with whatever they need when it comes to paperwork and funding streams for their adult children.
And then support brokering.
Yes, this is for, as you were discussing, self-directed clients, helping them with budgeting, hiring, recruiting, advocating, counseling, firing if needed, and whatever other services the individual needs.
And then we have the social skills tutoring.
Yeah, so I work with individuals with initiating conversations, maintaining conversations, how to make friends, how to keep friends, boundaries, everything they need to know to be in the realm of social skills and friendships.
And dating and relationship guidance.
I help them manifest what they're looking for, whether it's a romantic relationship or a companion. We talk about boundaries and safety and what they want. I even help them with their profiles if needed, how to meet people, how to go out there. And I actually have a goal in the future to do some matching as well.
Love on the Spectrum is like one of my favorite shows, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And Faith's like, they need to do one more with kids with CP too. I'm like, well, you never know. Maybe we could start something up. Oh
No,
my gosh.
that's the goal. That's the goal. The goal is for me to do a service where I essentially do coaching for people who are about to go on a date and match up people. So they have the coaching before their date, and then after the date, see how it goes. And if it doesn't match up them up with someone else, and before every single date, have a coaching session.
That is so awesome. Well, once you start that and get that involved, make sure you let me know, because I would love to be involved in that, and also have you back
absolutely.
to like share some of the stories. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
absolutely.
that is awesome. Okay. And then employment consulting.
So it really depends on the individual, but generally figure out what kind of job they want, search for jobs, do cover letters and resumes, apply for jobs, and do interview preparation, and also help during the interview. A lot of the people I work with aren't necessarily in Montgomery County, so I tell them that I'll Zoom into their interview to help them as a job coach.
That's awesome. And so are you a licensed provider with DDA, or?
I am not. It's private, but I would love to be a licensed provider with DDA.
Okay. But they can still write you into the plan too, correct?
As of now, no.
Really?
And that's something I'm looking into. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, because you would think that they would be able to do that, because dating and relationships and like all of
Exactly.
that stuff, just like the support brokering, that's nice that that's written into the plan.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm sure you find so much joy in the work that you do while helping these individuals succeed. Is there any one story or two stories that stick out to you that you're willing to share?
Yeah. So this was a while ago, but it's a story that both I am so fond of, and so is her mother. I worked with a young lady who had CP, used augmentative communication devices to communicate, and was deaf, and she used a wheelchair, and I was determined to get her to ice skate. So we went to the ice skating rink, and I was able to talk the owner into getting her on the ice, and we went ice skating. So that's probably one of my favorite memories of working with the individuals that I work with.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how did they do that? Did she use a walker?
No, just her wheelchair.
Okay, so they actually let her go on with the wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It was very cool.
I don't know if you well, you probably do know, but how they have sled hockey for individuals with disabilities. So
cool.
So Kennedy Krieger has it. Faith played for 3 years, but we played in Delaware. When we lived in Cecil County, it was actually closer to us to go into Delaware than to go down into Baltimore. But yeah, they have an adaptive program for kids and adults, and they actually have sleds, and then underneath is your I don't know what they're called, but that go along like your skate blades, if you will, underneath the
Wow.
sleds. And then you have your hockey sticks, and they have picks at the bottom.
That's
So
so cool.
yeah, so you have to pick them in, and you go, and then
Yeah.
yeah. And for ones that don't have the ability to do it themselves, they have pushers. So my daughter had a pusher. She could go by herself, but to process and do everything with the visual concept and hit the ball and go at the same time is too many things. So she had a pusher, and it was great. So they push you in the game, and you just yeah,
Absolutely.
it's awesome. It's awesome.
Accessibility at its best, really.
Yeah, and they play in up here in Harford County too, at Ice World. But they
That's so
travel all over, travel in New Jersey, New York, Philly, like all over the place.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And they have a ton of different sports too. They have
I am
the
all about breaking barriers,
yeah.
honestly, as much as possible. And even, to sometimes the parents' disbelief that these barriers can be broken.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. We also when Faith, we went to a friend's birthday party, and she just sat on her walker, and we were on skates, and my husband pushed around her walker
Yeah.
around the thing,
Yeah.
so she could kind of be a part of it. It was a private party too. I don't know if they would have let us do it if it was like open skate, but you never know. You don't know unless you ask and try and advocate. Right?
Absolutely. I always tell my clients the worst thing that can happen is someone says no. But in reality, the worst thing that can happen is you never know what the person could have said to you.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you offer, well, I know you offer different workshops because you had posted one in the thing. What kinds of workshops do you offer, and how often do you have them, and what are usually the
Yeah.
topics?
So I've been having workshops for parents on how to navigate social skills, dating and relationships, and employment for their children, teenagers, young adults, and adults. I had one last month, and I also have one coming up this month on July 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time,
Okay.
where I'm going to share some of the skills that I work on with my clients, as well as answer some questions that the parents have on how they can do it at home.
That's awesome. And where can people find you, and what's the best way to contact you? And I'll also put this in the show notes.
Yeah, that would be fabulous. So my website, which is lifeunlimitedllc.com, or my email, which is lifeunlimited728@gmail.com, or my number, which is 301-641-6293. Honestly, if you have any question whatsoever, even if you're not interested in my services, for just have questions, I would love for you to get in contact with me.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And also, so I know that you typically, well, you're in Montgomery County, and you see individuals both virtually and in person. How far are you willing to travel if you were going to meet the person in?
Usually 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then if not, I do it over Google Meets or Zoom.
Okay.
And I found that Google Meets or Zoom can still be pretty effective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The pandemic, that's one good thing that opened up the doors to
Absolutely.
do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you typically, your clients, do you typically do more in-home or virtual?
I do both. Sometimes it'll be at home, and if not, maybe like outside of a cafe where it's not too loud or noisy. Whatever is best for the individual and their learning needs.
Okay. And are you working do you have another job, or is this your sole?
This is my soul.
Soul.
This is my soul.
Your heart and soul.
And my soul.
Yes, exactly. Is there any advice that you would give parents out there, both for the young ones coming up, and then what to like kind of expect, and things like not a checklist, but advice for how to prepare them when they get into adulthood?
Yeah. When it comes to services, get ready for transition as early as possible in high school. Really, when they're in the 9th grade, talk to the transition specialist. But I think my biggest piece of advice is to let them fly free as much as possible, because the more the mother hen, is so close to the individual themselves won't want to be away from the mother hen, and to let them try new things that maybe seem a little bit out of reach or a little crazy, but you never know until you try.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. Is there anything you would like to share before we wrap things up?
If you think anything might benefit you, get in touch. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to tell you about myself and my journey towards this. This has been working with people with disabilities has been my life, not really a job. Ever since I was 14, it became just a pure passion, and I feel so blessed and fortunate to be able to share this with other people. So just get in touch. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. So before we wrap up, I had sent you the flyer about what's your word. We know how words can be very important. So I wanted to see if you would be willing to share what word you chose and why.
Relationship. Relationship within your community. Relationship with a partner. Relationship with a friend. We all want to be included with relationships. It may look different from person to person, but everyone wants those relationships and everyone deserves to have those relationships.
Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you again for being a guest on the show. I will have all of her information in the show notes. And I guess that's it. So thanks so much. And I'll talk to you soon. We'll
Thank
see
you so
on the
much.
next episode. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us as we spread awareness through our personal stories and the many resources shared. You can help us by joining our village simply by sharing our show to the masses. If you would like to support the Guilbault Girls on another level, click on the link in the show notes to make a donation in any amount. Add your address and you'll receive a hand-stamped token with the word village on it in appreciation. Be sure to subscribe to our Guilbault Girls podcast and YouTube show, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Guilbault Girls. Till next time.